Hey there, everyone. Before we get into Thrones of Game, I just wanted to tell you about our other podcast project, Pulp Fury Radio. We just dropped our final episode for Season 1, Jazz Noir, The Music of Murder, a noir detective story full of suspense and mystery backed by a smooth jazz soundtrack. If your ears need a break from all the Christmas carols, then escape the ordinary and check out Pulp Fury Radio at pulpfuryradio.com or wherever you get your podcasts. But now, on to Thrones of Game. Cue the music! Hello out there, you climbers on the ladder of chaos. Welcome to Thrones of Game, the Game of Thrones podcast where we watch the series backwards. If you've never heard the show before, well, let me just explain there, friend. My name is BT Calloway. I've already seen the entire show, and joining me as always is Elliot Jay O'Neill, the man who had never watched a single episode of Game of Thrones until we started watching in reverse order. Elliot, how you doing?
Jesus, Joffrey.
Yeah, this is a twist. We just watched Season 3, Episode 6, entitled The Climb. Elliot Jay O'Neill, what just happened?
Honestly, like a couple of really shocking scenes surrounded by a whole lot of...
Whole lot of talking going on. This is a lot of, well, you're not going to marry that person. You're going to marry that person now. And this person's going to marry this person. And now, wait a second, my eyes are crossed.
Nay of bores.
Yeah, but this is also the one where Jon and the wildlings climb up the wall to start off that plan. And Joffrey kills Rosie, I believe her name is. You just cut to a scene of him. I think it's the only scene he's really in. Sitting there with the crossbow going... Oh, well, I'm bored now. And panning to Rosie, who's been shot with crossbow bolts.
That's right, because it's preceded by the scene with Tywin and Sass Queen. Dedication to those two awesome actors, Diana Rigg and Charles Dance, absolutely fucking killing it.
Once again.
Even with a scene that, by this point, there was so much negotiation, I was so bored. But anyway, this scene was preceding the Joffrey scene, at which point I'm like, oh, that's right, Joffrey's a character in this show. Didn't see a lot of him, but Jesus.
Yeah, I remember watching this the first way through. I'm like, well, Joffrey just moved to chaotic evil. Yeah, before he was just kind of lawful evil. This was moved to just killing people because he feels like it.
Oh, double chaotic evil. Like, kills people at random and throws tantrums.
Yep, tantrums and murder. Yeah. Oh, man, I'm just trying to look at what else really. The climb is the main thing, and it's all about negotiations and moving pieces around and stuff. But let's just get into the episode entirely. What was your MVP, or if this one is one that bored you, what was your least valuable part?
I don't know. It was all a big pile of blur. And there's even some eye-rolly scenes. I don't know. What do you got? I mean,
a lot happens. None of it feels big yet. It's all leading to bigger things. I do quite like, again, the term we need for when horrible is done well with Ramsay taunting Theon Greyjoy is very effective. He just kind of starts by just, oh, you want water? Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have any. He just pours it all out. I mean, that's your base entry-level douchebag move.
Yeah.
But he does go on from that to have this little game of, if you can guess where you are and who I am, I'll stop torturing you for a minute.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, every time he gets a question wrong, he's like cutting his finger. I'm not sure if he's pulling the bone out or I think he's just flaying his finger, and it's nasty. It's effectively done. I think you're not quite sure what he's doing, but whatever it is, it looks horrible.
Yeah, you see the slightest bit of bone poking out, and then he's peeling, and then
oh yeah, it's gross. I have cringed quite a lot. I'm like, good, that's very impressively done. If I cringed that much. Also, excellent screaming on Theon's part. That really sold the agony of it.
Oh, that poor dude.
Yeah, I can't imagine acting on one of those X-rack things is comfortable. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about,
he's still, obviously not, tied to it, but he's still up against it the whole scene. He's kind of hanging forward by his arms. That looks uncomfortable.
Yeah, totally. And, I mean, both me and you have held boom mics for long hours at a time as well, and, yeah, we know your pain.
Oh, you think you know torture, do you? Have you ever held a boom mic for 3 straight hours? Oh, you haven't.
Your arms get so sore.
Look at these hands. You think they've been soaking in ivory, not holding boom mics?
And this scene as well, I was like, well, at least I know he's not going to cut his dick off this. And well, good on them. He found a way to torture me as well.
Yep, still just very nasty. And does have a good line of his where Theon guesses and he thinks he's guessed right. And I guess in the forward watch, we must have thought he was guessing right because this must be pretty fresh because he's all like, if you can figure out who I am and where you are and why I'm torturing you, I'll tell you and everything will be revealed.
God damn that fucking talking to baby voice.
Yeah, but it works so well. And then he's like, but you forgot to ask yourself a question, am I a liar? And I'm afraid I am. So I'm going to keep chopping on your finger because you're wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, he's altered the rules of game. Please pray he doesn't alter them any further.
Yeah, but he does a great line over, if you think this has a happy ending, you've not been paying attention.
Yeah.
Could have been a good metaphor for the show. Yes. And take that however you like. Man.
Look, I will give props. I don't have a standout character from this episode, but I will give props to Littlefinger's little speech at the end because just as a way to sum up this episode and the climb you go up the ladder and everything, and then it does a pretty obvious cut to the Jon
physical
Snow.
climb, yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Fine.
It's heavy-handed, but it works. Yeah, I do like him and Varys having a little back and forth and talking about how they've kind of outsmarted each other over the years, and it's also something I even fully get what they're talking about because they talk about this lie everyone's been told that they defeated the Rhaegars and had 1,000 swords melted into the throne, and it's all about the beautiful lie that people have to believe, so they believe in leadership and power, and and so even not exactly knowing what even they're referencing there, I don't even think we get a full history without reading the books. It's a good bit because there is that whole debate in real life not debate, philosophical idea that it's better to have a lie that unites people than the truth that it's the Watchmen philosophy. And I do like how that it ends with Varys going, well, what are you supposed to do? Because if you tell people the truth, you'll have nothing but a pit of chaos. And Littlefinger's like, chaos isn't a pit, it's a ladder that you can climb. And you can climb at something.
And then to the climb, which looked like dog shit. Every single scene. Bad.
Yeah, it did look a little more styrofoamy and CGI on some of these climby bits.
Yeah, and they tried, and maybe it's the the DVD quality on
the Blu-ray.
But I don't know. It looked styrofoamy. Yeah, like you said, I think that's the best way to put it. Again,
to be fair, I feel like our TVs have tripled in size since this aired. So and the definition has definitely tripled as well or something, but
well, no, like I was saying, there is a disparity because we're watching a DVD on a 4K TV, so it's showing up some bibs and bobs that would normally get blurred out. But I think I need to go pick up the Blu-ray editions of these.
yeah, if for no other reason then we can say, well, at least we tried. We got all the good neat stuff, whatever.
But yeah, they've got 4K versions, which I was thinking, oh yeah, that'd be nice, and then looked at the price of them. They're like fucking $60 to $80 each.
Nope.
And the one I'd be really curious to see that on is The Longest Night. The Long Night?
The Long Night, yeah. Just to shut up that one motherfucker was like, people aren't watching it correctly.
Oh, the director.
Yeah, I was at the director. I thought it was like an effects producer or something.
Oh, might have been, or a producer, or
whatever that fucker is that can clearly get fucked.
The catering guy.
If we can rent out an IMAX and get the highest 50K resolution, and if it was like, they say it still looks like shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Then, and it's like, it still annoys me so much because what most people are working with. Most people are watching this on their computers. They don't have these big setups. It's like giving someone an L-shaped condom. You know what they're working with, and then you're not working within those limits.
Well, for the very small percentage of people, it'll be, finally.
Sure, some people will be like, finally, one I can use. But, majority. To give you an idea, we're going to struggle through this one a little bit, I think, because that was the only reference of violence in this episode, as far as I can remember. And there was no nudity. That is all 4 of our questions already gone. I do want to chuck a little bit of an MVP to Tyrion and Cersei having a little back and forth. I like how we're in this era now where Cersei doesn't like him. No one really likes him, but he's not ousted from the family yet. He's still a functioning part of said family, and he's there, and they're having a whole discussion about how they blatantly don't like each other, but whatever, and they're now doomed to marry people they don't want to and all that kind of thing. It's a neat little back and forth. I would have given the MVP to the bit where Tyrion walks in on Sansa and Shay and is all like, I have to tell Sansa something, and maybe Shay, other people should hear it later in a different context.
Yeah.
And they're all like, no, this is fine, just tell us whatever you're going to say. And then it cuts, and it's like, no, I wanted to see that awkwardness play out.
Oh, absolutely same. Like, I get the point of expediting some conversations, but there were so many conversations you could have expedited in this episode.
Yeah, I feel like this is the problem. There are so many, just conversations in this one that even ones that should be great, like that Sass Queen and Tywin back and forth, which was quite good. Sass Queen loses, I think, for the first time we've ever seen, but does it in such a way that it doesn't feel like it. I think it's a great little bit of dialogue and a great performance, but it was in amongst so many other conversations that it just didn't feel very important or interesting. It's everything. An episode needs their breaks. It needs those action moments and those exciting moments, those quiet moments of talking to pace it out. This was just all those quiet moments. It's like going for a very short jog, and it's all okay. We'll rest for a minute, and now we'll rest again, and we'll rest again. I get it. I can do more, like strenuous stuff here. Just let me do it.
I think that's what the climb was meant to be. I guess.
And sure, maybe we spoiled it for ourselves by watching in this format, but this is the life we've chosen, and pew 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 forever.
We are the Renegades.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even the Sass Queen thing, just she absolutely kills the whole thing. Like you said, we see her lose in this thing, but she doesn't break. It doesn't break her. She's like, I know when I've been beat. Okay, cool.
She doesn't flinch. She just, realizes that, nope. And it even ends it with a great line of, it's rare to find a man who lives up to his reputation. It's like, and then snaps his quill in half. Naturally to be like, okay, don't sign the thing you're going to sign to put Loras into the King's Guard. You win, but does it by breaking something of his.
Yeah. No. She's playing 3D chess. She's taking this L now for a W later.
Exactly.
Which she arguably does. So I do need a bit of clarification on the whole fucking relationships going on right now. So I thought Iron Fist was meant to be married off to Cersei.
No. Okay. Loras? Yeah, that's what happens in this episode. So in this one, Loras is engaged to Sansa, and that's what Tywin and Sass Queen are talking about. They're saying, no, Loras needs to marry Cersei, and, Sass Queen is against that because that will... And I got lost on this one myself.
Well, anyway, because...
No, that's right. Because Loras is like their only heir, and even though he is gay, or as she says, a sword swallower through and through, can still father children and continue that line, even though he may not want to. And he's kind of like their last, I think, named son, basically. Whereas... Tywin does want that to happen because that'll shore up alliances, and as marriages always do historically. So, and then it was going to be, and to shore up the alliance with the North, he was going to have Tyrion marry Sansa. Everyone ended up with someone they didn't want to. You do need a chart.
As well, because there were actually, we mentioned Varys and Littlefinger before. There were a couple of unique pairings that I don't think I'd seen much, and Sansa and oh my god, it was Jean Grey and Iron Fist.
Wow.
How about
Marvel
that?
universe just keeps recurring.
Over the Marvel Netflix TV and the Sony cinematics crossover. Interesting. Anyway, and I was like, oh yeah, why weren't they more of a thing? Oh yeah, because she goes with wait a minute, what's happening here? I thought he went with... I need a chart.
I did really like the very awkward conversation between Sansa and Loras when she's all like, oh, that's a nice brooch. He's like, psh, it's a pendant, not a brooch. I guess a brooch is a pendant. Yeah. And this is literally dialogue from the episode.
They laid it on a little thick, I thought. Oh, yes, I've always thought about my wedding day. All the decorations and everything. Oh, and the bride wearing her dress and everything. I'm not gay.
She basically had a stagehand walking behind just being like, gay!
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we got it. Thank you.
Giant rainbow flashing lights and, actually, speaking of, I did like that bit with Sass Queen where, sucked that she goes, discreet buggery, but she's like, well, it's better than incest and it's better than being a bunch of murderers now, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a very tolerant, if, conservative tolerance? I don't know. What the hell ever you want to call it. But I mean, especially against Tywin, who's all like, the terrible sins Loras is guilty of that I hear turns my stomach. Blah. She's like, oh, come on. You grew up with squires and servants and men-at-arms. You never got a little curious, boy?
Yeah.
Never? Not even once?
Well, I'd be behind the stable shed with the nice little boy. I don't know. I think he did.
He was very offended.
Yeah.
But I also don't take Tywin for a liar, though he will lie for reputation. Oh, well, whatever. But yeah, she's got some great lines when she's like, Cersei's a bit old, and Tywin's like, she's not too old. And Sasquatch says, I'm a bit of an authority on old.
Yeah.
And the better line of, I'm a bit of an authority on myself. And he's all, I can't even remember what his line was, but it was a great little bit from her.
No, I love her dialogue for that she can be so cutting and whatever, but also self-deprecating. She knows who she is, and she's very aware of herself, and because of that, I feel like, yeah, she's that more outwardly critical and always hilarious when she is.
Yeah, that's why she's our Sass Queen. I got no other questions to ask. We kind of get a bit of cock talk because there's a bit of John Bum Chovy talking to Aloy before they do the climb, and she's all like, oh, used to have got these snowshoes from a guy who didn't treat me as well as you did. Oh, he didn't do that thing with his tongue that you did. Wank.
Just to clarify, she said thing with his tongue.
Tongue.
She really pronounced it like tongs, like barbecue tongs.
Yep.
That thing with your tongue.
Yep, that's like that vague Scottishy-ish kind of accent that they got going on there. But it's all like, I know you're not loyal to the wildlings, but you're with me now, and you better be loyal to me, or I will shoot you full of arrows in a future episode. No, what she actually says is, I'll cut your pretty little cock. Sorry, I'll cut your cock off and hang it around my neck. And it's like, that's terrifying. However, you did say pretty, didn't you, dear?
Real fucking can we do that? The compliment threat?
Yeah, compa threat.
We'll work on it.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. That's fine. So that's the closest to cock talk as we get. It's not a metaphor. It's far too literal to technically be on cock talk, but it's what we got.
There was a little bit of violence with skinning of rabbits.
Yeah, with character I really need to know the name of, hanging out with Allbrand and the Raisinets.
The one adult.
Yeah, the one adult, who again is a lot of fun. I do like the basically bickering between the one adult and the girl child, who I also can't remember the name of. I did know once, but whatever.
And this scene reminded me that, I'm a city boy, I didn't grow up, hunting animals and then skinning animals and then eating those very animals that I watched die. That seems psychotic, but good on you if that's what you like to do, I suppose. But anyway, have you ever seen Roger and Me, Michael Moore's first documentary?
No.
There's a weird random scene where he's talking with someone who lives in Flint, Michigan, who's selling some rabbits for pets and some for just meat. And there's a full-on scene of her, beating, killing, and skinning a rabbit. And they put it in this documentary. Actually, they tributed it in The Simpsons. There was a weird character who was living in Marge's childhood home that they based that character model off of. Anyway, where am I?
Thrones of Game, the Game of Thrones podcast where we watch the series backwards.
Renegade, pew, pew, pew. So anyway, the first time I saw that, it was it was so shocking. I think it's the first time I'd ever watched anyone skin an animal. And then I played a lot of Assassin's Creed 3 and Red Dead Redemption 2, where that's a built-in mechanic. And it was so difficult for me the first few times, but then eventually I was like, oh, I really want a bear coat. It looks so fucking cool in that.
Yep.
And yeah, when this thing came on, it didn't even faze me. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is disgusting.
It's disgusting, but it's what people did. It's what we have to do if the world shuts down again.
But they're just they're even discussing how one's shit at it and the other one's better at hunting it.
And she clearly was better at skinning it, because that just popped right off. When the only adult did it.
Did it in 3 swift moves. It's the first time you watch a person do a chicken wing in one go. It's I need to know your technique.
How? Is it the chicken wing or is it you? Yeah. No, I did kind of like the scene as well, just because it was showing some tensions between intent, really. And also Allbrand's just sitting there going, no, calm down. Ladies, please, you're both good at skinning rabbits. Just settle. And also later on, there's a bit where the red woman shows up and Arya's all like, I don't like that woman. It's like, well, of course you don't. You're a girl. And
yeah.
It's that. Girls never get along in offices, blah. But it's kind of funny.
Oh, I am really thinking about fucking Allbrand, though, as that guy from Black Book. Girls, don't fight.
Well, if you do, just do it in your jammies, all nice like.
With pillars and Jim Jams.
I know the one. Then we get Genjin having a seizure or something with some visions, and he's like, I've seen Jon Snow. We're going to cut to him now.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Jon Snow.
That was so funny because, yeah, he has the seizure, like, looks just absolutely gutted and goes, I saw Jon Snow. And Oberyn's like, you saw him? How is he?
It's like, I just had a seizure, dude. Just give me a sec. My head is killing me.
Is he well?
Just shut the fuck up.
Is he eating a nice big mutton?
It's like, no, he was taking a dump, if you must know. Look, I don't pick when the visions happen. They just happen. I don't know, it felt a little bit hollow to basically have a vision of what we were about to see because it was like no new information. I kind of wish they'd thrown something metaphor. Remember later on he has a vision and he's sitting there and he's on fire but nothing else is?
Oh, yeah.
That was very surreal and very cool. I wish they'd done something with that.
Oh, maybe he was just like super cold.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I guess.
Just I like what they do later. Here, it could have used just a bit of that surreal weirdness. That said, I do thoroughly enjoy surrealness. So more of that, please, just in general.
Going backwards.
Yep. Going backwards, more budget for the surrealism, please. I would like a full-on version of The Cell in Westeros.
And, just going back, because you mentioned the Arya bit as well. Like, I really hated this choice of editing here where they clearly show them taking the gold and Arya goes, you're not doing it for God, you're doing it for gold. It's like, duh, Arya, we saw.
We saw the gold, thank you, Blair.
It was just an odd choice.
There were some big old sacks of gold.
Yeah, they pretty
much had a dollar sign on them, yeah.
Oh, God, what else in this thing?
Yeah, so we did get the name of the guy who keeps resurrecting Eye Patch, which was Thoros of Mylar. I don't know.
Oh, the guy who had, like, it looked like someone had crudely drawn a butt pooping on his head.
It was, yeah, odd scarring. I think it's scarring or dirt. I'm not even sure what's going on with him, but...
I don't know, like, because it's totally a W with a line coming out of it. It looked like a butt with poop.
I mean, it could be. I mean, did Sharpies exist back then? Maybe he fell asleep drunk and his friends are just drawing on his face.
You know? Staring over. You know what? I think this is my masterpiece.
Yep.
Written and directed by Quentin Tarantino.
No, this whole bit, I was kind of like, why do we never really see this guy again? Like, he pops up a little bit, and he's got this one guy he's brought back 6 times, who does have a bit in the Long Night. He holds the door for a little bit. Whoop-de-doo. But I do like how...
He spins a flaming sword as well? Or was that Joram?
God, I can't even remember. It wasn't Jorah. Jorah's sword was not on fire. I don't think, at least. But it's just like, I do like how the Red Woman, as we've mentioned before, she's always getting this galaxy brain. Oh, I can see so many things. And I like how this is a great collision between her philosophy of religion and these other guys who serve the same God. She's like, how many times you brought him back? 6. He's like, bullshit, you did. He's like, no, I totally did. He's like, that's not how it works. He's like, yeah, it is. I keep doing it.
It's just like, fuck off, huh?
And not even like, oh, I guess the Lord has different plans, which is like, but son of a...
Finally, the woman who's got an excuse for everything.
Yeah, but then unfortunately she does have more of an excuse for everything when Arya stops her and is like, you're a fucking bitch and I hate you. And she's all just like looks in her eyes like, oh, there's a darkness in your eyes. I can see eyes in there. Blue eyes, brown eyes, green eyes. You'll close many eyes. We'll meet again.
I actually didn't mind this because I was taking notes because, it's around Christmas time at time of recording and we're hitting the shops a bit at the moment and you go through the shops, you're going to get stopped by a mid hallway kiosk thing, some person selling some shit that you don't want, so they put it in the middle of the mall so it can be the IRL version of a pop-up ad. And just getting some new dialogue to say to them to just get them to not fucking talk to me.
It's true.
Because just like, oh, no thanks, isn't enough. They will persist. They are trained to persist. But if you just looked at them dead on, I see a darkness in you.
You'll close many eyes. You have so much blood in you.
This skincare routine will not save your dark eyes.
No, from the winters ahead. Okay, but if they wanted to flip that around, we have learned they have 2 key phrases they could use, one of which being, come fight death with me. Like if one of those World Vision people stopped me and said, come fight death with me, I'm like, yeah, damn it. And the other one is, of course, from the bell lady nun who's just, shame, lady. Just one thing, give. Like, okay, here you go. Give. I already gave you. Give. Okay.
I'll see if I can try that on the more chaos people.
They stop you. Hi, do you have a moment to give? I can give you a pamphlet. Give. You might need a bell, but give it a crack.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think look, we are yet to define what the post-apocalypse is going to be like, so maybe it'll just be weird as fuck and just Game of Thrones quotes all over the place. Or, Game of Thrones of Game quotes all over the place.
There is no Game of Thrones. The only remnants is the Game of Thrones podcast, the premier Game of Thrones podcast, that in 2020 is the only one still airing new content. Anyway, I had a question.
Yep.
Were there many, like, memes, when Trump was really kicking up the wall stuff about, like, this and that wall, comparing them?
Not as much as there clearly should have been, because I was going to post something once upon a time that Game of Thrones was actually set in our future after the Mad King built the wall and we were all killed by a terrible global warming winter. But I never got around to it because I couldn't quite connect it well enough, and there were so many things about walls and stuff, and it all moved so quick.
Fucking Daenerys can be a sub-in for Ivanka.
I mean...
Nah... Daenerys gets shit done.
Yeah, Ivanka's way more inbred. That's not validated, but whatever. You know what? I've challenged Trump to box me on the Simpsons index, like and subscribe. So I'm going to challenge him to, I'm going to keep talking smack about your kids and you until you come, like, duke it out with me, bitch.
I mean, you don't have much going on next year.
Nah, I got nothing. Find me in January. Nothing's going on in January. I got some time off. It'll all be good.
When's he? 17th, I think.
Yeah,
He'll be free after then.
Yeah.
Be just free. Come on, Trump.
Come on, motherfucker.
Fight him.
I can bring you back to life 6 times so I can beat you again. Worst connection I've ever had, but there we go. I'm
out of notes.
I'm running out too. Let's see.
The lighting on the end of the wall sucked as well. At the end of the episode when they were doing the zoom out on the wall. Like, I know because it's the wall that's meant to be facing north, so there is like a specific way the sun's meant to be coming in this situation. It just didn't look good for the scene, I thought.
Yeah. I was about to say, I think you're right. Those sun's in the wrong spot.
Yeah, well, because it was coming from the side, and then so that meant John was like creating too much of a shadow on Aloy. It didn't work for me.
What also bugs me about that is they've got this nice scenery, and they start making out. It's like, but you can't see the scenery then. It would look great on an Instagram post, but you're not doing that. You're meant to be looking at the world and looking at the road ahead, effectively. That's your metaphor, but instead you're just macking out. You're wasting it. What are you doing?
When you could be making Instagram posts.
Yep, you're just kissing for scenery now. I did write down the pun, ice climbers.
Yep.
Yep. Oh, yeah, and I guess the climb down was super easy because we don't see that. So, yeah, even though they were talking about you got to climb all the way up and then you got to climb all the way down and both are equally dangerous. No, it's not.
No, it's all right. They've got the nice sunset at the moment. They're just going to have a big old makeout.
Yeah. You know what? Now that I think about it, because there is a bit where Aloy swings the little ice axe and it cracks part of the wall and a bunch of people fall off, but no one else really falls off. No one falls off of their own, like, volition or of their own failure to hold on. Like, those people fell down by the fact that the ice didn't hold, not because they were like, we've been climbing. They said, 700 feet tall? Which is very tall. And it wasn't that someone found their limit at 500 feet and just couldn't hold on and dropped. And that would have made the whole thing a lot more harrowing to see all these, tough wildlings, some of them just not hack it.
Yeah, because it certainly would have been a numbers game as well. Like, yeah, with anything that is tall enough to be, piercing the clouds, even in a cold region, yeah, that looks fucking huge.
Yeah, and the bit where Aloy does crack that part of the wall, seconds before, she's like, oh, you're looking at my bum, John Bum Chovy. And it's like, if you're at the point of having, jovial jokes, you're not tired yet.
Yeah.
So have her do that early on, and then later on, they're just too tired to really throw back and forth. Or maybe they stop to rest on like a little ice shelf, and it's just like, fuck. Something like give us, because otherwise all these scenes are just climbing and then people falling because the ice didn't hold, not because this is hard.
No, now that you mention it, in a show that I feel like does a pretty good job of like having realistic physical limits of people, yeah, that's a bit of an oversight.
Yeah, that's a shame. It would have been good. It would have given us a sense that this was difficult rather than people dying because they were unfortunate.
Yeah, and like we said, our harrowing experience of holding up a boom mic for several hours on end, you get pains in your arms, and then like when you finally lower your arms, it kind of fucking hurts a bit. And yeah.
Yeah, especially when they got to the top, they should have just been arms up the entire time. Ow, they won't come down.
Yeah, Lisa, you can put your arms out now.
I can't, they're stuck.
I want to, but I'm stuck. Yeah, I'm out of notes.
I got a couple more. So there's a bit where they're talking about Walder Frey's demands, and like, oh, that guy's going to marry this daughter of his, and those are his demands. And then he's like, well, can I see her first? He's like, well, what do you want to do? Count her teeth? And I wanted him to be like, I mean, I wasn't going to, but should I? Is that a thing? What do you...
Now that you've said that, yes.
Yeah, now, I mean, I wasn't gonna, but now I'm curious as to why that was the first thing you said.
Why should I count some other things?
Does she have, like, too many? Is that the... What? Answers now, please. Yeah, that was weird. We have a bit with Roose Bolton and Brienne of Tarth and Jim Jam Lannister all having a debate. The only interesting thing is Jim Jam can't cut a steak now because he's only got one hand.
I liked the way it's like, oh, you come to watch me fail at dinner.
Yeah. Hard to fail at dinner, but he found it. Yeah, I've got to say, Jim Jam has a fair amount of sass too. I don't think we've really called that, but he's got lots of, even in the worst of times, he's got like a quick, smooth line. And he's got some bits. It's quite good.
Yeah, he really should have been Nathan Drake. Like, I think it's good casting for him to be Joel. I guess he could have just been any stubbly...
stubbly, brown-haired protagonist in a modern video game setting.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it is a cliche, but it's also one that works pretty well.
Yeah, well... That's it. He's stuck to Joel now. He won't do Infamous or Gary Cole. Is that the Dead Rising guy? I'm trying to think of others, and now they're escaping me, of course.
Oh, it's definitely Cole something. No, Dead Rising is Frank something. Frank West.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
And Travis Touchdown. There we go.
Yes, Travis Touchdown I would like to see, because that could work in the right director's hands.
Who could play him?
I would have said Johnny Knoxville like 10 years ago, but
damn.
Too old now. It wouldn't work. But yeah, back in the day, he would have nailed it.
Totally.
But yeah, now, I don't know. Do we have any other notes here?
How about you at home? Do you have any notes? Interesting.
I never thought about it like that. That
certainly is a perspective, but I have no strong feelings about it.
Hey, we try to keep a civil tongue on this channel. No, we don't. I don't even know what lie that was supposed to be.
Pew, pew, pew.
I do like Arya getting some notes on being an archer.
Oh, yeah. That was the question I had. Does she doesn't get all three of those people. Does she get any of them?
Well, she said Cersei, and who are the other ones? I can't remember the third one.
I'm looking for my note. Joffrey, Cersei, Bill and Payne?
I don't remember who that is, but I don't think so. Unless that was Stabface, but I don't think it was. But I do like she's like, oh, well, you're pretty good there, girl. You're not as good as you think. It's like, what are you talking about? Face, tits, and balls. I got them everywhere. It's like, why are those? I mean, I don't want to be shot in any of them, but it's just weird. That's how you... All right, cool, whatever. But I do like he's all like, no, you just took too long doing it. You meant to draw and shoot immediately, which is actually true. Because I've read a bit of Zen and the Art of Archery. No, actually, I've read the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
You
ever done it?
No.
Coincidentally, because I constantly call her Aloy, I went to what's the fucking game called? Horizon Zero Dawn. I went to the Horizon Zero Dawn launch in Sydney, and they had a couple of guys running archery, one of which was Eddie, who we used to go to uni with.
Oh, nice. Never shot a bow. Have shot a crossbow. That was fun. They're very sensitive triggers. Yeah, it was at a castle in Prague somewhere.
Wow. Okay, that's way cooler than the video game launch in
Marrickville. I imagine you also got a drink for free and maybe like a goodie bag or something.
No, I didn't get a goodie bag at that one. Got a poster that did the classic thing of putting it up and then it fell like 2 days later and just creased in every worst place.
Oh, jeez.
And I got my face painted. That was fun. They do those like little blue lines like in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, neat. Hey, that's something. It's a day. It's an event.
Yeah, I miss those things.
Yeah, we'll see them back one day. My last note is actually just on the start of this episode with Gilly and Sam. Sam still can't make a fire, even though we're going backwards. We know he never gets any better. So that's a bit... You'd think that would have been fun if he'd learned from her. That would have been neat.
But yeah, this is kind of annoying me because she's like, "Oh, you're an expert fire maker," and then he pulls out a knife and says, "What's that do?"
I know, it's a knife. Whatever it does, it's doing it now.
Yeah.
That was a bit weird. Well, I suppose it is a weird-looking knife, but I think she should have at least said, "What is that? A knife? What's it made of?" And then he could be like, "Oh, dragon glass or something."
Or point out the fact that the knife is all weird and curvy, and go, "Oh, that's not a good knife, is it?"
Yeah.
And then he can go, "Oh, but it's really old.
Yeah.
I read about it in a book."
Ooh, what's a book? Yeah, now I was just inserting that character. But I do like she's like, "Oh, well, you sing us a song," and Sam's not bad at it. It's just a nursery rhyme, and it's enough. It's a neat little scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to hear this. What do you say the good singer was? Dobry? Dob?
Dob.
Darian?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think no one sings at Castle Black, so we eventually find out Pod's really good.
Yeah.
And I'm very bummed there's no version of that's just his clean vocals. They're the only ones you can find are ones pulled from the episodes. You've got the background sounds and stuff.
Oh, because it kind of does like a swelling of strings that aren't technically part of the song.
Yeah. No, well, the only the album version you can find is one of those, those indie chick singers who go all over the place.
Yuck.
Yeah, and it's just... No, I liked Pod's very solemn, baritone version. That was very good. I'm bummed that it's not out there somewhere. Anyway, if we're battling about soundtracks, we've clearly wrapped this up, so we must ask our final question. How did we get here?
Well, the next episode, apparently...
Is it called The Walk to the Climb?
Quite the opposite of the climb up the icy wall. It's called Kiss by the Fire. So, man, someone's going to get their lips burnt.
Yeah.
Or, in the case of Daenerys, she's going to engage in a really exciting relationship with a nice little wood fire that she's seen.
She can. She's the only one we know who can kiss fire and live to talk about it.
Like the Screamer pillar in The Simpsons, it's sexually attracted to fire, which will obviously kill it, but Daenerys is the only one.
Maybe this is the flashback to the mountain holding the hound into the fire that's got his face bare. It's like, kiss the fire, now kiss.
Oh, God.
Nah, it's not. That flashback doesn't exist to the better of my recollection.
Aw, spoiler.
To the best of my recollection, you know how much I drink.
How much? I thought this thing went furthest back into, the hound's childhood and everything.
It could. I don't know. There's going to be prequels, apparently, or maybe not. Who knows?
Oh, God.
Yeah, how everyone got their scars.
I don't think there will be, hey. For one not to have come out by now.
That's kind of my thinking as well. If they would want to have... I suppose originally they would have wanted to have ridden the wave of success from the final season. That didn't happen. So now I guess they're probably giving it some breath before they launch it, if they do at all.
Possibly.
Just to get the taste out of people's mouths.
Yeah, I don't know what the status on it is. I know, some of the big Game of Thrones heads were commissioned to do 3 Star Wars movies in the future. Yeah,
no, that's allegedly why they did 8 seasons instead of 10.
Yeah.
So, hey, we're doing Star Wars, we're going to piss off. And for reasons I will never understand, HBO were like, cool, I guess wrap this up as quickly as possible then.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Star Wars would have made them more money, so, yeah.
It's a chance to write Star Wars. You take that chance. But
you
don't fuck up Game of Thrones to do it.
Yeah, I guess that's it. If you're... God, you just got to be earning squillions of dollars, and what's double squillions not to fucking finish up your work? I don't know.
Well, it's a very Bron philosophy of, I'll let you go if you can pay me double.
Yeah, that's it. The show was written by a bunch of Brons.
Yeah. I mean, I like that guy, so I can't help it.
All right, so Kiss by the Fire.
Yeah, we look forward to that till next time. Until then, I've been BT Calloway. That's been Elliot Jay O'Neill.
Goodbye.
And for now, our watch is ending.